All right, the next topic is jobs. Now, as you can already guess that we use this jobs object to run a batch job. And when you run a batch job, we have to make sure that the pod runs an application container which is run to completion. So it does not run continuously, unlike any other application that we try to run on pods. So in this case, we'll run an application and the application will run for some time. Once the job run is over or all the steps are over, it will be completed. Why do you use Kubernetes for running jobs? Of course, very simple reason, because the pod will automatically be terminated once the job is complete, and the resources utilization or the resources usage would not be that much. As I said, it is used for batch processing, wherein you have, let's say, a file, you want to process that file, and you want to run a job or an application, or you want to run an application as a job. You put the application in a container and run it inside of a pod using a job object and do the processing, and it will end to completion. So this is the manifest file. Notice the API version, it is batch slash v1. It is very different than any other that we have seen so far. The kind is job. In metadata we mention the name, and in specification we have something called back of limit, parallelism, completions. We can remove all of them and just mention from template. Now in template, of course we mention the container template or the pod template, the name of the pod, and the application with its image. Now restart policy is very much needed. So restart policy is mandatory. There are two options. One is never, that means never restart the pod, and the other one is on failure, meaning that when the pod fails, then only restart the container again. Now notice that the restart policy is with the pod template. Okay, so what is this parallelism? Using parallelism, we can run parallel jobs. So here, as we have mentioned parallelism to be 10, that means we can run 10 jobs at the same time, or 10 containers of the same type. Then you have completions. So completions mean that when should Kubernetes mark the job as complete. So as we have 8, it means if 8 applications are run successfully, then the job should be marked as complete. Then there's this retry, which can be provided using back of limit. So here we have mentioned back of limit as 5. Now it works in tandem with restart policy. Let's say we have mentioned restart policy to be on failure. That means whenever this pod fails, it will start again, and it fails again and start again. Now the question is how many times the pod should be restarted. As in the back of limit we have mentioned the number to be 5, it will be restarted 5 times, and then it will be marked as completed with error. Then we have one more type of kind, which is called cron job. So here the kind is job. We can also have something called cron job, wherein we can mention a schedule in the specification section in cron format. Meaning we can mention a schedule here for kind cron job, and the format would be something like this. Let's say the job has to run every 15 minutes. So it will be 0, 15, 30, 45, and so on. Now it follows the cron format, remember, and it will run based on this timing format that we have mentioned. So let us go ahead and take a look at a small demo of jobs. This is the job that I'm planning to run. It's a very simple shell file, and it will run for approximately 1.5 minutes, and after that it will be completed. It's nothing, it's just echoing some comments. And this is the manifest file of the job. The kind is job, metadata is, the name is KTest training job. In the template we have just mentioned the name, and in the containers I have mentioned the name of the container and image, and then finally in restart policy I have mentioned never. Let us go ahead and create this job. Okay, it has been created, and at the same time I'll run a while loop, and let's see the status of the job. Now the job is running, and it should run for 1.5 minutes, and after that the status of this KTest training job pod should be shown as complete. So as you can see, the status of the pod is being shown as completed, and there you go, the status is complete. Now one interesting thing that you see is that there is no deployment. It is because the type or the kind is job. Now what I'll do is that I'll mention the parallelism to be 5 and then run it again. And in the specification, I'll have to mention the parallelism. So instead of 10, let me mention as 5. Let me run the job again. So the job got created, and if I do a get jobs, it will show you that 0 of 1 of 5 is complete. So it will run 5 times. Now if we want to check the status of the job, we can use this describe jobs command. And now as you can see, the 5 jobs have been created. In fact, 5 pods have been created and it is running. So let us take a look here. And as you can see, there are 5 pods running and all of them are running from the same job. So it means that the parallelism 5 is working. So that's why it has run 5 jobs or same container 5 times, and it will be executed when it will be completed when all the 5 jobs are, when all the 5 applications are completed. Now if you see, 5 out of 1 of 5 is completed. So within, after some time, it will be done. Now if we do a describe jobs, now as all the 5 pods are done, as all of them have run to completion, and if I do a describe of the jobs, it says that the job has been completed. If I do a get jobs, it says that 5 out of 5 is complete. Do a get pods, I'll tell you that all the 5 pods are in completed status. Now remember one thing, that when you are using jobs, you cannot use the apply command. If you're trying to run a new job with the same name as earlier, you have to delete the existing one and then you run the new one. So this is what jobs are and this is what parallelism do, and there are other options also which you can try. Now one more thing that I want to point out is that when you are using parallelism, you have to make sure that the locking mechanism is handled by your application. Kubernetes will not do anything in that case.